My name is Sofia Morales. I'm 28 years old, and I make a living designing security systems for tech companies in Monterrey. But nothing in my career prepared me for the 8-second voice message that destroyed my family. It came in on a Thursday afternoon, right as I was finishing a video conference with a client from Houston. I tapped play and heard my mom's voice, cold and direct, as if she were canceling a Netflix subscription. Not her daughter. Don't come to the house. We've already made a decision. We don't need to explain anything to you. No context, no emotion, just a verdict. For a second, I just stared at my phone, feeling my heartbeat in my ears. Then the part of my brain that designed security protocols all day quietly kicked in. I didn't call back. I didn't argue. I typed one simple message. Understood. Then I moved first. I logged into the shared account system I had set up for the family house, the one I bought in my name so they could live without paying rent, and I changed all the passwords for services and automatic payments. No more electricity, water, or internet paid with my card without my authorization. Then I called the notary and canceled the power of attorney I had given them for procedures related to the property. Finally, I blocked access to the savings account I had opened for family emergencies, so no one could touch that money behind my back. By the time I finished my coffee, every easy door they thought they had through me was also finished. I thought that would be the end of it. Instead, the next morning, my phone showed 52 missed calls and a WhatsApp audio from my lawyer uncle saying, "We have a very serious problem, mija." I actually laughed when I heard it and typed my reply, because they had no idea the problem wasn't that I had left. It was what I took with me. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see how one cold message turned into a family revenge story where the person they tried to cut out ended up holding every last card. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing so much it almost fell off the nightstand. For a second, I thought it was my alarm. Then I saw the screen. 52 missed calls. Mom, Dad, unknown numbers, aunts, uncles, cousins. One of the last notifications was an audio from my Uncle Hector, the family lawyer. I put in my earbuds and hit play while I started the coffee maker. "Sofia, it's your Uncle Hector. Mija, we need to talk urgently. This is getting out of control. Please call me as soon as possible." His voice had that tone lawyers use when they realize their clients hid important information from them. I let the message end and stared at the wall for a moment, listening to the coffee drip. My phone kept lighting up with new messages from Mom. "Sofia, this is a misunderstanding. Call me. We need to talk." From Dad. "Daughter, whatever happened, we can fix this. Please call us back." Another one from Mom. "We didn't mean it like that. We were upset. Come to the house so we can explain." Funny, I thought, because yesterday there had been no confusion in her voice at all. "Don't come to the house. We've already made a decision." That had sounded pretty clear to me. I kept scrolling, expecting to see my brother Mateo's name somewhere in the flood. Nothing. Not a single message or missed call from my younger brother, who normally flooded our family WhatsApp group over any little thing. For someone who loved attention, he was very quiet now. While the coffee finished, I opened the building security app and pulled up the camera feed for the entrance, almost on autopilot. The screen showed a clip from earlier that morning. My dad standing outside the glass door of my building, hands shoved deep into his jacket pockets, looking up at the 3rd floor where my apartment is. He checked his phone, hesitated like he was about to ring the buzzer, then turned around and walked away. No call, no knock, just retreat. My chest tightened for half a second, then I pushed the feeling down. When people show you how easily they can cut you off, you don't rush to comfort them when they feel the knife swing back their way. On the way to work, my phone kept vibrating in my bag. I let it. At my desk, I finally shot off 3 short replies. To Mom, "I'm fine. I need time." To Dad, "I heard the audio. I'm not ready to talk." To Uncle Hector, "I received your message. I will respond in writing." I didn't know anyone more than that. A little before lunch, my coworker Ricardo rolled his chair over to my desk, lowering his voice. "You've been staring at that screen like you're about to make it explode," he said. "Everything okay at home?" I almost said yes out of habit, but stopped myself. "Not really. My parents decided I'm no longer part of the family." His eyebrows shot up. "Do they realize you are the one supporting the family?" I shrugged. "They left a voice message. I locked everything down. Now their lawyer is involved. Ricardo let out a slow whistle. Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you know how this goes. The second money is involved, everybody starts performing. If you make moves out of guilt, they're going to spin that into you admitting fault. Make sure every decision you make is something you'd be fine explaining to a judge one day. I nodded. That part I understood better than anyone. Risk management was my job. I had spent years building systems so people couldn't quietly move money around behind each other's backs. And now I was realizing I had built the perfect system to keep my own family from doing the same thing to me. As I walked to the break room to refill my coffee, my phone buzzed again. A new message from an unknown number. I heard you canceled the house thing because you're really stressed. Are you okay? It was a cousin on my mom's side. Stressed? That definitely wasn't my word. It sounded like something Mateo would say while blinking like he was about to cry. The pieces started to line up in my head. The timing of him losing his marketing agency job. The way he'd started throwing around phrases like optimize family resources and free up capital at Sunday dinners, as if he had ever cared about spreadsheets before. The fact that he was the only one quiet now, like a puppeteer who had already pulled the strings and was waiting off stage to see the outcome. I stared at my phone and felt the first clean edge of anger, sharp and cold, slide into place. If Mateo was behind this, if he thought he could push me out of what I built and climb into my spot while my parents went along with it, then he had chosen the wrong sister to pick a financial fight with. 2 days later, I tried to pretend life was normal by doing something painfully ordinary. I went to the local coffee shop I always hit on Saturdays, the kind of place where the barista knows your order and the regulars talk about soccer and housing prices. I had just picked up my Americano when I heard someone call my name. Sophia. Hey. I turned and saw Don Carlos, one of my dad's old buddies from the company where he used to work. He clapped me on the shoulder like nothing was wrong. I heard about the house, he said, lowering his voice like he was about to share a secret. Tough stuff. I frowned. What about the house? He winced. Well, what your mom and Mateo said in the family WhatsApp group. That you pulled out because work pressure got to you. That you were stressed, and it wasn't a good time for you mentally. He said mentally the way people do when they're afraid to say nervous breakdown. I felt my jaw tighten. Stressed. There it was again. I forced a smile so tight I felt like it might crack. Yeah, well, you know how rumors travel, I said. Don Carlos patted my arm, told me to take care of myself, and wandered off toward the sugar. I walked out of the shop before my face showed what I was really feeling. Outside, in the cold Monterey air, I pulled out my phone and scrolled back through my messages. Not one call from Mateo, not one text, but somehow he was comfortable telling extended family that I was too unstable to handle a house deal I had practically engineered. That wasn't just gossip. That was laying groundwork. Sitting in my car, I opened my contacts and tapped a name I hadn't used in months. Miguel Sanchez, the financial advisor who had helped me set up the original account structure for my family before my parents, under Mateo's influence, switched to someone newer and flashier. Miguel picked up on the second ring. Sophia, what a surprise, he said. Still keeping everyone out of trouble? Working on it, I said. I have a question. Has anyone tried to change the names on my parents' house deed recently? There was a pause, the kind where you can hear someone sit up straighter. I've seen some draft documents floating around, he said slowly. Your mom mentioned a new advisor, asked some hypothetical questions, but I saw references to adding another family member as co-owner, and your signature line was blank. It looked bad, so I told her nothing could move without you. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. Another family member. Mateo, of course. Did any of it go through? I asked. No, he said. The paperwork was incomplete and frankly questionable. But Sophia, if someone is trying to backdoor their way into control of your property, you need to get ahead of this. I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the dashboard for a long moment. I thought about the voice message telling me not to come. I thought about Don Carlos using the word stressed. I thought about my mom suddenly wanting a new advisor right after Mateo lost his job. This wasn't random. This was a plan with a shaky legal backbone and a lot of emotional manipulation on top. A new notification popped up while I sat there. From Mateo. Finally. What do you think you're doing, Sophia? Canceling the house deal, freaking everyone out, blocking accounts. This is a mess and you're making it worse. For a second, my fingers hovered over the keyboard. I almost unleashed everything boiling in my head. Instead, I deleted the reply draft and opened my email. First, I wrote to the notary. Per our conversation, please consider this written confirmation that I have canceled the power of attorney granted to Maria Teresa Morales and Roberto Morales related to the property located in Colonia del Valle. Any further representation that I am participating in decisions about this property is inaccurate and unauthorized. Then I asked for a formal cancellation notice to be sent to my parents, copying their lawyer. Next, I opened a new message, this time addressed to Mateo, but written like any other risk escalation I would send at work. Mateo, this email serves as formal notice that any attempt to alter ownership, signature authority, or financial structure related to the family home, its associated services, or savings accounts without my written consent is unauthorized and may constitute fraud. Do not sign my name. Do not imply my approval. Any such action will be documented and shared with legal counsel. Sophia. No yelling, no name-calling, just facts and consequences. I sent it, then turned my phone face down on the passenger seat. By the time I drove home, my call log showed 8 more attempts from Mom, 4 from Dad, none from Mateo. At my apartment, I opened my laptop and started a new folder labeled Family Risk File. I dragged in screenshots of messages, the lawyer's audio, Miguel's notes, the email I just sent. Every move, every lie, every attempt to paint me as unstable was going in there. Because if Mateo was building a story where I was the problem, where I was the weak link to be cut out so he could slide in, then I was going to build a better story, one backed by timestamps and evidence. And I couldn't help wondering, as I watched the files pile up on my screen, how many families blow up like this because one person values the truth less than the victim role they've been rehearsing their whole life. 3 days later, an unknown number flashed on my screen in the middle of a spreadsheet. I almost let it go to voicemail until I saw the firm name. This is Sophia. Hi, Sophia. This is Luis Fernandez, your parents' new financial advisor, he said. I just need to go over some discrepancies in the house structure and accounts. That word made me sit up. He explained he'd been reviewing the house deed and shared accounts, and had seen draft forms adding Mateo as co-owner or with authority over services, with my name referenced as approving the changes, but no actual signature from me. To be clear, Luis, I haven't approved anything, I said. I haven't signed a thing since the day I set it all up. Luis sighed. I figured. Your family is under the impression you stepped away, and that these changes are what you want. The word stressed came up. From a compliance standpoint, I needed your confirmation. Treat every request as unauthorized unless you see my live signature, I told him. If someone claims otherwise, ask for written proof. You won't get any. After we hung up, my cousin Andrea called. Are you okay? She blurted. Because the way Mateo has been talking, it sounds like you're falling apart. I asked what exactly Mateo was saying. That you pulled out of the house because of anxiety. That you hoard control of everything. That you threatened to cut Mom and Dad off financially, Andrea said. Now he's posting about power abuse in families. None of that is true, I said. Andrea lowered her voice. I didn't think so. It doesn't match the Sophia who paid for your parents' roof. I just wanted you to know what's being said. Thanks. Screenshot if you feel like it. Otherwise, don't feed his audience. We hung up. A second later, an email thread popped into my inbox. Subject: Family home purchase update. It was from the notary with my parents, Mateo and Hector, the lawyer, on copy. Quoted under his reply was Mateo's message. Notary, as we discussed. Sophia pulled out due to personal mental health struggles. We need to move forward without her. Please respect her limitations, Mateo had written, sounding so caring it made my skin crawl. The notary's actual reply was crisp. Thank you, Mateo. For legal liability, I'll need written confirmation directly from Sophia, and will pause the file for now. I started typing before the anger softened. Hi, I wrote. Attached is my written withdrawal from 2 days ago and the pre-approval docs. I am not exiting due to mental health struggles. I am withdrawing because I no longer consent to my name, credit, or income being used under the current family circumstances. Any other description of my decision is inaccurate. Thanks for pausing the file. Sophia. I copied Hector and Luis, attached everything proving I had been the driver from day one. The notary replied quickly to the smaller group. Understood. I will ignore Mateo's prior message and only act on instructions that come from you. A quiet email followed from Hector. Received. We should talk about next steps. That night, there was an envelope taped to my door with my mom's handwriting. Inside, on lined paper, she'd written, "We love you. We were emotional. Please call us so we can fix this before it goes too far. Love, Mom." For a second, my chest hurt. I could picture her at the kitchen table while Mateo paced and cried, arranging the story. My phone buzzed again. Andrea had sent a screenshot of Mateo's newest post. Sometimes the most dangerous person in a family is the one who controls all the money and punishes you when you don't obey, it said. Healing means walking away from people who weaponize their power, even if they share your last name. The comments were full of hearts and "you go, girl." I put the note from my mom next to my laptop and opened the folder labeled Family Risk File. Emails, audios, advisor notes, screenshots, all lined up in neat little rows. Up until now, I'd just been shutting doors. As I watched the files stack up, I realized defense wasn't enough. If Mateo wanted to build a narrative where I was the villain, I was going to answer with something he couldn't spin. A simple documented story that left him standing alone in the light. The next morning, while I was at my desk, my phone buzzed with a new message from my mom. Just 5 minutes, no arguing. Please. I stared at it. 5 minutes wasn't going to fix a voice message that told me not to come back, but it sounded more like her than anything she'd sent in weeks. Call me, I wrote. She answered immediately, and I heard the faint speaker echo. Your dad is here too, she said. Hi, daughter, Roberto added. You wanted 5 minutes, I said. Mom exhaled. We messed up, Sophia. Saying don't come to the house, we've already made a decision. That was extreme. We shouldn't have said it like that. You did, I said. You said exactly that. She went quiet, then tried again. Your brother told us things. He said you were planning to kick us out of the house, talking to lawyers about removing our access to accounts, saying you were tired of carrying us and wanted total control. He said he told you after dinner in the car. None of that ever happened, I said. Did you hear those words from me directly? Well, no, Mom admitted. Mateo said you talked in the car on the way home. I took my own car that night, I said. I left alone. There was no car conversation. Dad swore softly. Why would he make that up? Mom whispered. But it sounded like she already knew the answer. Maybe because he wanted what I have, I said. If I'm unstable and power-hungry, sliding himself into the documents looks like he's protecting you, not using you. Dad sighed. This is past family drama now. Hector called. Luis called. The notary paused the file. I know, I said. That's why I'm done with whispers. We're going to sit down, all 4 of us, in the same room. No speakerphone, no vague posts. I'll bring documents. You bring everything Mateo told you. Then we see what survives. Do we have to involve lawyers? Mom asked. They're already involved, I said. The question is whether they see Mateo's story first or the evidence. When? Dad asked. Tomorrow at 6 at the house, I said. If Mateo won't come, that's an answer too. The next evening, I walked into my parents' living room with a thick folder under my arm. Same beige couch, same framed school photos, completely different air. My parents sat together on the sofa. Mateo perched in an armchair with a tissue like a prop. He wouldn't look at me. Thanks for coming, Dad said. I said, nothing about this is off the record in my head. If anyone lies, I won't keep it to myself. Mateo scoffed. Wow, way to make this hostile. We're family. Then the truth shouldn't scare anyone, I said. Mom twisted her hands. Mateo, honey, tell Sophia what you told us. No, I said. Mateo can speak for himself. Go ahead. Mateo rolled his eyes. I just repeated what you said, he snapped. That you were done carrying everything. That you were thinking of pulling your name off things. That you wanted total control of the house so you didn't have to consult them. And this was in the car after dinner, right? I asked. He nodded. Yeah. You were upset. You probably don't even remember. I opened the folder, pulled out a printed statement, and slid it over. That night at Talks, right? Check the timestamps. Mom's eyes moved down the page. Mateo's Uber receipt to his house at 10:15. My gas station charge across town at 10:13. Different routes, different cars. I drove myself, I said. You took an Uber alone. There was no car conversation. Maybe it was another night, Mateo said quickly. Before you say that, here's the only other time we all had dinner in the last 3 months, I said, flipping to another printout. That night, you left early to meet friends. I stayed to pay. No private ride then either. Dad leaned back slowly. Mateo, he said quietly. He shrugged. Memory is weird. Okay, I was trying to help. I thought you were serious about needing a break. I laid down the email to the notary next. My withdrawal sent before Mateo's mental health story. Then the notary's reply saying he'd ignore anything that didn't come from me. Then Luisha's note about draft documents with my name referenced but not signed. Then screenshots of Mateo's posts and Andrea's messages. One by one, the pages built a line from my voice message to this couch. Mom finally turned to Mateo. You told us you saw emails, she whispered. You told us Sophia said she was done with us. Mateo sat up straighter. So now you just believe her because she printed things? He said. She's always liked control. She's twisting everything to make me look crazy. Dad fixed his eyes on him. The truth doesn't fall apart when you hold it next to a receipt, he said. Yours did. That's the difference. Mom looked at me, and for the first time since that voice message, I saw something shift. We always thought you could handle more, she said. We saw Mateo as fragile, so we protected him and put all the responsibility on you. And now I'm sitting here realizing the only person who has lied to us is the one we told not to come back. Mateo opened his mouth, but Mom lifted a hand. Not this time, she said softly. The word no landed between them, and I felt something inside me finally, quietly, slide back into place. They had tried to cut me out based on a script Mateo wrote. Now they were watching that script burn page by page and realizing they were seconds away from losing the only person who had actually kept them afloat. The silence after my mom's no sat there like a fifth person in the room. Mateo shifted in his chair, eyes darting between our parents and me, testing which way the wind was blowing. So what now? He snapped finally. You've got your little packet of papers. Congratulations, Sophia. Are you happy you made Mom cry? I ignored the jab. This is not about anyone crying, I said. It's about consequences. You told me not to come. You tried to push changes through behind my back. You told people I was unstable so you could step into things I built. That has to mean something other than a sad Facebook post, and everyone pretending it never happened. My dad rubbed his jaw, the way he did when he was lining up a difficult repair in his head. What do you think should happen? He asked. Mateo whipped his head toward him. Seriously, Dad. You're asking her? I met his eyes. You wanted me out of the family business? I said. Fine. I'll step back from being the default safety net. But that also means no one gets to quietly use my name, my credit, or my work. Starting with making sure Mateo has zero access to anything I've set up. My mom hesitated. Mateo doesn't have access, she started, but I shook my head. Not formally, maybe, I said. But he's been in meetings. He's been in chat groups about the house. He's been talking to advisors like decisions were already moving in his favor. That stops today. Dad sighed, looked at Mateo. Son, he said, we need to be clear here. No more talking to advisors for us. No more speaking on our behalf. No more hinting that Sophia is okay with things when she's not. Mateo blinked hard. So you're just going to cut me out? He said, his voice going high and thin. After everything I've done for you? What exactly is that? I asked, unable to stop myself. The Instagram story about being raised by wolves in the suburbs? Or the half-baked business plans you wanted me to fund? Mom flinched, but didn't scold me this time. Roberto, she said quietly, maybe we should make it official. No additional beneficiaries, no shared accounts, no promises we can't keep. We've been saying for years we'd help Mateo start something, pay off this card, co-sign that loan. All it's done is make him think he's entitled to money that isn't there until Sofia builds it. I looked at her, surprised at how blunt she was being. Maria Teresa turned to me. "We want you to rewrite the documents," she said. "The house, the accounts, all of it. Based on what you think actually makes sense, not what we say in the middle of a fight." I stared at her. "You're asking me to take control again after you just told me to get out," I said slowly. She nodded, eyes wet. "I'm asking you to do what you've been doing this whole time," she said. "Only this time with us admitting you know more than we do." Mateo let out a harsh laugh. "Unbelievable. You're handing her everything. You're punishing me because I told the truth about how she treats us." Dad looked at him steadily. "The truth would have held up against a gas receipt," he said. "Yours didn't. That's the difference." For the first time since I'd walked in, Mateo looked genuinely shaken. His eyes flicked to me, searching for some old version of me who might offer a lifeline. I didn't. Roberto took a breath. "Here's what we're going to do," he said, falling into the firm tone he used to use at work. "Sofia, you, Hector, and Luis figure out whatever it takes to make the house and accounts bulletproof. You and I remain the only owners. Your mom is a beneficiary. Mateo is not in any position of control anywhere. If we help him, it will be from our own pockets, not by opening back doors into what you built." Mateo sat forward. "You can't just erase me like that," he said. "I'm your son too." My mom winced. "We're not erasing you," she said. "We're stopping pretending money we don't have is going to fall from the sky because we put your name on something Sofia made. If we ever help you, it will be because you have a real plan, and we can actually afford it, not because we feel guilty." Mateo switched tactics so fast it made my head spin. "Fine," he said, tears welling up. "Then let me prove it, Sofia. Give me a small role in the accounts. Let me do social media or something. Let me show you I can contribute instead of just taking." It was almost impressive the way he slid from outrage to pleading to the angle that made him look the most reasonable. A year ago, I might have fallen for it. Now I just saw another version of the same pattern. I stood up, picked up my folder. "No," I said simply. "If you want to prove you can build something, you don't do it by wiring yourself into what someone else already built. You do it by starting with nothing like I did." My mom looked between us. "Sofia, isn't that a little harsh?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "Harsh was being told not to come and that I should stay away," I said. "Harsh was having my stability used as a prop to get sympathy online. This is just boundaries, Mom. There's a difference." Mateo glared at me. "You're going to regret this," he hissed. "You think you can cut me off and walk away clean?" I picked up my phone and slid it into my bag. "No," I said. "I think I can protect what I've earned and stop you from turning my work into your safety net. Whatever happens to you after that is not on me." On my way out, my dad walked me to the door. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for the voice message, for not asking you first, for letting it get this far." I believed what was easiest to hear. I nodded, feeling a complicated mix of relief and sadness wash over me. "I know," I said. But believing the easy story doesn't mean the consequences are easy too. Over the next week, the shifts became real. Luis sent over revised drafts with only my and Roberto's names in control positions. Hector scheduled a meeting where my parents signed documents limiting who could ever touch their accounts. I updated the property operating agreement to explicitly state that no new co-owner could be added without unanimous written consent from existing ones. There was no line where Mateo's name could even be penciled in later. When the last signature dried, I felt something settle into place. Not revenge as a dramatic moment, but revenge as a structure. A system in which the person who tried to push me out no longer had any way in. A few days after that, Mateo showed up at my office unannounced, eyes big and red, asking the receptionist for me. He was holding a binder, the kind you bring to pitch a project. I met him in the lobby, arms crossed. "I have a business plan," he said, thrusting the binder toward me. "Events, brand partnerships, influencer collaborations. If you just invest a little, I can pay you back and prove everyone wrong." I didn't take the binder. "Start it without me," I said. "If it works, You won't need my money. If it doesn't, you'll know why I said no." His face crumpled, anger and panic fighting for space. "You're really not going to help me," he whispered. "Not after everything." I thought of Miguel's warning, Luis's caution, Andrea's screenshots, my mom's note, my dad's quiet apology, that voice message that started all of this. "I'm done helping people set themselves on fire with my gasoline," I said. Then I turned and walked back through the secured door to my floor, leaving him and his binder and all of his almosts on the other side. A month later, I stood in the driveway of a pale brick triplex on the edge of Monterey, holding a box of kitchen stuff and watching my parents argue about where to put a bird feeder. The bottom unit was theirs now, officially in writing with a clause that